So we keep on track. I would like to welcome to the stage one of the most interesting minds in the technology space in the promotional products industry, Eric Granata. Eric.
Alexa, tell me about Eric Granata.
Eric Granata is the VP of Business Development at ROBYN, a promotional products distributorship based in Oklahoma City. Eric is young enough to be considered a millennial, but Gen X sounds cooler, so he goes with that. He is the fifth of a set of quintuplets born to Janice, who grew up on 8 Mile, and George, an ex-Scientologist. Would you like to hear more?
No.
As a young hustler, he sold buttons to his brother's orthodontist, foreshadowing his career in promotional products. His first attempt at custom apparel was a rad jean jacket decorated with Ninja Turtles and peace signs drawn on puff paint. Eric is the father of 4, an Apple fanboy, a socially awkward workaholic, and a doubting nihilist. He sits to pee because everybody deserves a break now and then. Would you like to hear more?
No, I've had enough.
You feel like you know me now? Today we're going to talk about Sci-Fi promo. A few years ago I was at South by Southwest and I heard this futurologist who worked for IBM talk about how science fiction creates a roadmap for technological development. And the way it works is, over the course of time, these nerds wrote these books about technological advancements in science, and even what the implications were for society. What happened, though, is that would create the expectation in the consumer's mind. So I'll give you an example. So this is the hoverboard that Marty McFly had. You guys remember what year it was in Back to the Future 2? When he goes to the future? 2015. Is this a hoverboard? I was so disappointed. Let's look at some examples that actually happened. This is a screen grab from 2001: Space Odyssey, a 50-year-old movie, and our character there is looking at what is very clearly a tablet computer. This is at a time when computers looked like this. A little while later, 42 years later, Steve Jobs introduces the iPad. It wasn't the first tablet computer, but it's the only one that matters. You guys watch Star Trek? Yeah. So this is the replicator, and Star Trek kind of popularized this idea. Essentially, it takes waste matter, probably poo, and turns it into tea Earl Grey hot, right? And it was interesting because in Star Trek, in that whole universe, there's this lack of scarcity caused by the invention of the replicator, because anybody can walk up to a hole in the wall and get what they need, which allowed them to, then create warp drives and travel through space. Now, we don't have replicators yet, but we do have 3D printers, and this one is actually called the replicator. But science fiction does give you the opportunity to, think about the implications. So if we can print anything, maybe even a gun, how do we address that? Is this a good idea? What laws do we have to consider, right? What counter technologies would need to be developed? You guys know who that is? Johnny Five. Yeah, Steve Guttenberg played Johnny Five back in the day and did a really fantastic job. That's a joke, he didn't play Johnny Five. Anyway, so this is a robot developed by Boston Dynamics, right? So, we had this imagination for these military robots, like Johnny Five, and now we're teaching these things to dance or something. And here they are a few years later. This is okay, right? I mean, they're just robots. And this is what we have to look forward to. Until then, though, we live in a society where companies need to connect with their audiences in a very real and human way, and promotional products help them do that quite well. But there are some technologies that I want to discuss over the next few minutes that I think we ought to be thinking about when it comes to developing our own business and the business of our clients. The First is augmented reality. Serious. We're still talking about augmented reality. You guys know this by now. Augmented reality, you hold a phone up or a screen up, a bunch of IKEA furniture pops out onto your floor. I won't go into all the details about how it works, but if you've played Pokemon Go, that's augmented reality. But how has augmented reality been used by brands? Well, BMW happens to know that a purchasing decision is largely emotional, and so they developed an app that lets people kind of get the experience of owning one of their cars. I'll show you a video clip of it. So you've seen this kind of stuff before. We're going to have the couple, and they're picking out their car. They're going to go out to the driveway and look at it, change the colors and the wheels. BMW actually reported that when they were testing this application, people were actually ducking down when they were getting into the car, right? What's cool about AR is, like other mediums, television commercials, magazine ads, the point is to help the potential buyer imagine what life is going to be like with the advertised product. And this is why virtuals work so well in our industry, right? So you can show somebody a picture of a product, that's great. But you show them that product with their logo on it, they're getting a little closer, right? Maybe you give them a spec, now it's in their hands. And the only way that they can realize this idea of giving that product away or receiving that product is if they sign that PO. This is another example of augmented reality, not in a marketing aspect, but in more of a product, right? So it's called the Merge Cube. It's essentially a plastic cube with a bunch of marker images on each side. It's used in edutainment. And I'm not saying we need to sell Merge Cubes, because marker images can be put on anything. If you want to put a marker image on a stress reliever or a koozie or a t-shirt, you can do that. In fact, we're already doing it. You've probably seen tattoos that are AR enhanced, apparel, etc. Let's scroll up on the notes because I lost my place. Awesome. Yeah. So maybe you're selling this stuff already. Augmented reality allows us to also measure interaction with these products. So every time you hold your phone up and scan an image, that's being logged somewhere. And so you have a really unique opportunity to determine who and how that product is being interacted with, which marketers love knowing this kind of stuff. It gets them a little closer to discovering the real value of that campaign. So make sure your clients know this. If you're already selling AR-enhanced products, make sure they know that there's some analytics behind that too. So I'm going to show you something that we've done at ROBYN over the last year. This is basically a product landing page that we created, and it's like a promo flyer, right? One thing that's pretty cool is we got these 3D virtuals here, so you can see we're spinning the cronies around. There's some videos. There's some really cool marketing automations that's happening behind this thing, which I'm happy to talk about another time. But when I first put this together, I wanted to do something a lot different. I wanted to take that experience and take it outside the browser. And so imagine using augmented reality to give a product presentation. So you slide a flyer for some sweet cronies across the table or a lunchbox, and the user can scan it with their phone, and it just drops that product right there on the table, and they can move around it and do all that cool jazz. Maybe you even ask them to upload an image or a logo, and it puts it all in the right place. This thing is theirs now. Again, they're getting closer to that buy, right? They could even view pricing and specs, save a picture of it to share with their boss. Guys, maybe they could even place a purchase. Tap here to buy 10,000 of them. Use Apple Pay. Money doesn't exist. AR helps you and your client to tell their story in a unique way. It also lets you measure interactions and behavior, and it allows the user to get closer to that product, much like what BMW is doing. The reason I'm bringing AR up again, seriously, is because we haven't done this yet. There's still a lot of untapped potential here. Next technology I want to talk about is the Internet of Things. So the Internet of Things is essentially taking a device or a product that was previously dumb and now connecting it to the Internet. A good example of this are smart home devices, Alexa, all kinds of sensors and monitoring in agriculture and manufacturing. Essentially, you're collecting data from the real world, uploading it to the cloud, integrating it with your computer systems. Which sounds really nerdy and geeky, but how can we use IoT to improve our industry and enhance the brands we represent? Well, the first is with data collection. So very much like augmented reality, with all these sensors, we can observe how a user interacts with the product. Is it out on the desk? Is it shoved in a drawer? When's the last time it was picked up? All that jive. Again, we can use this data to measure ROI and how effective a product is, which could inform how suppliers design product in the future and help us as distributors determine what to sell a particular client based on that client's desired outcome. The other thing that IoT allows us to do, and one that I'm particularly excited about, is to move beyond the swag, the physical product, with a branded experience and solution. So this is a picture of a product that we developed last year, and we call it ROBYN's Big Red Button, because we couldn't think of anything better. So what it is it's a piece of plastic with a logo on it, right? We're all tracking so far. But when you press that button, it connects a salesperson to whoever pressed the button. So here's the use case, right? So I go visit Bobby and I say, Bobby, I got some sweet pencils to sell you. And he's like, nah, man, I'm good on pencils, maybe later. And I said, no worries, take this button. Put it on your desk. When you're ready to order some pencils, you mash the button. Don't look for my business card. Don't try to remember my name. It doesn't matter. So if he presses that button, what happens is I immediately get a phone call. And on the other end is a voice that says, Bobby, just press your button. Press 1 to call him now. Or press 2 to pass the phone call on to your sales team. Or press 3 to decline the call and call him later. So if I press 1, we connect. If I press 2, the call is distributed round robin style to our sales team. If I press 3, Bobby gets a SMS message from me. Hey, sorry, I can't get to you right now. I'll call you as soon as possible. Everything is logged in our CRM. If we need to call later, then a task is created. It's pretty cool. And we hope we use this internally, but we hope to sell it to everybody. But what's neat about this is it a promotional product? Sure, it's got the logo on it, it sits out there, it's getting impressions, but it's also useful and is an extension of the brand by providing an experience, right? So when they mash that button and the thing lights up, all the endorphins are hitting, you know, wow, this is exciting, I don't know what's gonna happen next. First time they get that phone call, oh my God, this is so sweet. ROBYN must be really innovative and attentive to my needs, right? So we've got like a branded experience. So that's an example of how IoT can enhance what we do. I'm not suggesting that we start putting chips and radios into koozies and pine tree air fresheners, but I think we should think about how IoT can inform buying decisions and how they can add value for our clients through the observation of behavior and surroundings and interactivity. And in this case, by creating surprise and delight that moves beyond the physical product and into a branded experience. So now I want to talk about hyperlocal manufacturing. Hyperlocal manufacturing is this concept where goods are being created and manufactured in the community in which they'll be used. So think of it like this. What happens when buy local applies to a whole lot more than agriculture, right? A whole lot of the same benefits you get with the Eat Local movement. Let's get those notes up. Thank you, sir. So Eat Local supports your economy, your local economy, less travel of goods, smaller environmental impact, reduced impact on the infrastructure, less warehousing, overproduction, and will even affect how we view importing and tariffs. All this could be possible with hyperlocal manufacturing. Another benefit of hyperlocal manufacturing is the ability to customize products on an individual basis, which sounds an awful lot like something we do already. You see this concept at work with suppliers like Org Audio, shout out, and other suppliers who are offering a growing line of not manufactured on demand, but decorated on demand. This has worked really well for ROBYN. Last year, we were one of the fastest growing distributors selling Org Audio's particular line. What's really cool about it is because we're not committed to an entire inventory, we can just put these on a store. If we sell one or two at a time, that's great. We can even offer personalization, which is cool. But even better is you get this kind of halo sales effect, right? After a while of selling 2 or 3 pieces into a company, the right product makes its way into a meeting where they're planning a sales conference, and someone says, "That's cool, can we buy 1,000 of them?" Yes. Yes, we can. Hyperlocal manufacturing gets really interesting when you think about the manufacturing economies of the world. So if all of a sudden we're producing much more product stateside, that could be pretty disruptive to countries like China, which have a whole lot invested in manufacturing and logistics. Countries like this may find themselves scrambling to adapt to a model that requires less space, transportation, physical infrastructure, even employees. This is how the manufacturing sector will be challenged by 3D printing, which is a baby step towards hyperlocal manufacturing. Supply chain networks will morph from multiple production sites to a network of materials suppliers for 3D printing, and the final producers at or near the end user. You guys remember Napster? Dude, people were freaking out. How am I going to sell all my CDs, right? So there's similar implications for hyperlocal manufacturing in the form of intellectual property and theft. So previously, IP could be largely controlled in production because you'd have multiple parts being manufactured by multiple companies, assembled by yet another company. It's not the case with 3D printing. Because of handheld 3D scanners and peer-to-peer sharing, anyone could be able to create physical replicas of products, violating all kinds of copyrights and patents along the way. Like the music industry, I think we'll need to rethink some things about manufacturing and IP. So, for example, to prevent or manage theft, very much like pirating music, companies may end up building a streaming service, right? So somebody says, I need to print my Lion-O action figure. They go on there, they buy one print for $10. It sends a streaming file direct to the hardware, not the customer, and then the file self-destructs, right? We'll move from selling individual products, we won't, we're always going to sell products, but somebody's going to move from selling individual products to maybe just designs that are sold or licensed. 3D printing provides a lot of opportunity for new income and sales channels. Concepts like inventory and fulfillment will evolve as companies ship designs rather than products. Designs can be printed or manufactured by the end user at the location of their choice. All the shipping stuff, maybe goes away. You don't have to worry about free shipping because we just printed it locally. Plus, by reducing time to market and the commitment to inventory, customers or companies can react to emerging trends faster. Alternatively, there could be a long tail market in older products. So think about manufacturing legacy parts for machinery where you couldn't manufacture those at a decent price before. Or allowing consumers to feel really nostalgic and get their Silverhawks action figures printed and sharing it with their kids. Mattel's not going to do that now, but perhaps they could put the files out there for people to purchase. Product development also accelerates as prototyping becomes faster and cheaper. Ford Motor Company is using 3D printing in their prototyping process, and what used to take months and hundreds of thousands of dollars is now taking thousands of dollars in days. So product development will get really speedy. So before I finish on hyperlocal manufacturing / 3D printing, I want to point out 3 websites I think you should check out. The first is quirky.com. If any of you have been there? No? Yay. Quirky is cool. So what it is it's a website, and if you've got an invention concept or a napkin drawing, you can submit it to Quirky. All these people come together, design experts, CAD experts, engineering experts, marketing experts, and they all contribute to your product. And if that product ends up going to market, everybody who participated gets a piece of the revenue. It's a whole lot of fun. This is shapeways.com. If you haven't been there, I highly suggest you go there. What's cool about Shapeways is it lets you design products and sell those products without you or your client or your end customer needing a 3D printer. A story about Shapeways, when they introduced metals into their materials, I thought, okay, cool, I'm going to kick the tires on this a little bit. So I designed a custom pendant, had it extruded and printed in stainless steel, and then polished. And it took a really long time to get it into the mail, and it was ungodly expensive for what it was. But I literally had like a one-of-a-kind little custom pendant. Now they have precious metals. So think about using something like this for one-off or short-run keychains, coins, like challenge coins, jewelry. And I'm not saying that's a good idea now, because it's ungodly expensive and takes a long time, but we're getting there, right? And then this is thingiverse.com. So Thingiverse is similar, but it lets you buy and sell the designs, not the product, for DIY printing at your house, or if your library has a 3D printer, even if your UPS store has a 3D printer. It's worth checking out. 3D printing and hyperlocal manufacturing is going to be huge for the entire supply chain. And it's also going to increase product development and innovation. I'm excited. You guys know account-based marketing? Key account marketing? It's this idea where rather than marketing to a group of many, you're marketing to a specific individual. It allows you to be to get the most value out of your marketing, or your clients get the most value out of their marketing. It increases account relevance because you're marketing to a single individual. Inspires companies with compelling content. Scroll up. And allows you to target your audience at a very granular level, literally just one person. So I'm going to show you a video clip from a Netflix show called Maniac, and it's an interesting and jolting illustration of individualized marketing. Check it out.
Welcome. Please make a selection to begin. You selected single ride. How will you pay? You selected credit. Please swipe now. Decline. Insufficient funds. Would you like to use an ad buddy to add funds? Yes or no? Welcome.
Okay, Mr. Milgram, gonna need your attention. When tragedy strikes others, it's sometimes hard to know what to do until now. Owen. Daddy's home. Consider becoming a temporary volunteer mail order husband and changing the lives of a heartbroken family in your region. Okay, well, up next, we got something called Neverdeen Pharmaceuticals. Good afternoon, Owen. Did you know that your rent comprises 87.2% of your annual income? Is that actually true?
All right. So what you saw is an example of like really personalized marketing, right? That guy followed him on the train and knew all kinds of crazy stuff about him. The only thing I like about this clip is, in a sense, Owen is being paid for his time through ads. So maybe we'll get there. That'd be cool. Point is, account-based marketing lets you get really personalized, and campaigns are crafted specifically for one individual. So how can technology enhance account-based marketing? I think artificial intelligence is going to be a big part of that. Things get really interested when you sprinkle a little bit of that AI on there. So for example, you could use AI to pull data from varied sources into insightful reporting, and not just really any data, but data for the right outcome. You can optimize the timing of when ads run, calibrate the ad execution in real time for the lowest price clicks or lead conversions. Email is another way. So right now in MailChimp or other products probably, you can optimize your send time for the list, but in the future you'll be able to optimize that for each individual person. And you could even take it a step further, and in your email campaign have AI write thousands of permutations of the copy, use the right images for that individual for the best outcome. AI-powered A/B testing is a thing for more efficient and accurate suggestions, personalized offers and dynamic pricing, and dynamic web content, all individualized and personalized. So remember the AR concept, right, where we're pitching with an AR app? Let's put some AI on that. So maybe based on the viewer's profile and behavioral history that we know, we show them the right product. We show them the right color of that product with the right logo, the right sales copy optimized for maximum emotional impact, and even the right price. All of this optimized for maximum profitability and conversion. AI-enhanced ABM will not only optimize marketing for maximum conversion, but it's going to help marketing to feel more relevant and personalized. Keep these things in mind as you grow your own business and serve your clients. So why would we spend time on technology when selling a pallet of mugs is easier? AI and account-based marketing and hyperlocal manufacturing obviously have implications for our business, but what about augmented reality and IoT? This is the hype curve. I didn't invent it, but I found it and I'm stealing it. So basically what it shows is technology over the course of time, and you see this technology trigger, right? So somebody invents IR, and then you see the peak of inflated expectations. So this happens when Pokemon Go comes out, and then people are like, oh, this will be incredible because I can fix my car with AR, I can explode the engine and get in there and really do some amazing things with augmented reality. But then you very quickly get into this trough of disillusionment. This is where you're like, AR, that's stupid, it's such a gimmick, who cares? But then you come back up to this slope of enlightenment where finally you're like, okay, I get it. This is the actual use for this stuff. And then you do the plateau of productivity. The other reason that IoT and AR are important is because stories sell. I put that slide in for Bobby. Consumers use the platform of choice, of their choice, to tell stories. They do this now with Instagram and YouTube, and they will with the emerging platforms that technology will allow us to create on and share with. What they're doing here is they're creating user-generated content. Holy crap, 50 seconds, I gotta hurry up. Our products and services enable audience to tell stories, and AR and IoT will do the same. I want to share a video real quick produced by my good friend and fellow reciprocity roadie, Brad Storms at CNS Sales, that gives you a good example of user-generated content that works.
My name is Brad Storms, Vice President of CNS Sales. We are the producer of the Writer Preferred Uber Box. Based off of the initial brief, our goal was really to make a high perceived value box, but not at a great expense. So we utilized really luxury materials, but that weren't super expensive material. The entire box was all made from scratch. The foil stamping, the die cutting, there was nothing that was generic or stock. There's a really nice cohesiveness to the entire piece, from the trays to the lids to the outer wrap material to the tray liner. The level of sophistication of the box was pretty over the top. We haven't seen something of this degree in probably 25 years.
So I got a surprise in the mail today, and I wanted to share it with you.
Less than 2% of drivers got this award, and I'm one of them.
This is so awesome that Uber did this.
This is really unexpected, and actually it made me cry a little bit earlier. Thanks, Uber.
Yeah, pretty sweet. So that campaign was successful because it gave the recipients of the box a story to tell. And they obviously liked telling that story. What's interesting about campaigns like this and recipients who have a story to tell is they self-optimize their story for narrative, medium that they distribute on, and who they're sending it to. A little more up on the notes. Never mind, that was it. So, question, technology is really cool, hooray, and it's neat, but I think at some point consumers are going to begin to desire more human touch again. This is why direct mail is kind of trending again, right? Because it's unique. Another quick story, real quick. T-Mobile is ditching their chatbots, their AI-powered chatbots, because they feel like human customers require real human service. And so they're using that as a differentiator when it comes to customer service. I think we'll see a similar pendulum swing in consumer technologies. I don't think we'll all become Luddites. I just think that the human touch will become unique and valued again. And the good news is that promotional products do exactly that. So that's it. I'm going to skip this one because I don't need to bloviate anymore and I'm out of time. And yeah, follow me on Twitter if you will. I have 950 followers and it's really sad to me, so please help me feel better about myself. If I get to 1,000 followers, I can return to my home planet. And I blog very irregularly at ericgranata.com. Thank you all for listening to me.